This year, Stuttgart and Leverkusen seem to be Bayern's biggest competition for the Bundesliga title, alongside the more usual suspects of Borussia Dortmund and RB Leipzig. And while Leverkusen is grabbing headlines with Xabi Alonso at the helm, Stuttgart is silently doing what seemed to be impossible just a few months earlier. Especially seeing they lost Wataru endo to Liverpool, Mavropanos to West Ham, and borna Sosa to Ajax. And apart from Alexander Nubel, who joined on loan, they didn't bring in any new big names to the club. Instead, their new manager found a way to unite the team and release his players' potential. Join me as we uncover how VfB Stuttgart and SEBASTIAN HOENESS managed to beat football. Stuttgart is playing attractive attacking football under the guidance of Sebastian Hoeneß. He was able to release Guirassy's potential and wake the German giant. However, if we said Stuttgart became an overnight success because of Hoeneß and Guirassy, we'd be wrong. Stuttgart started laying foundations to this return ever since their promotion back in 2017. In an attempt to revive the club, Stuttgart committed to something Germans like to call Ausgliederung. It is the act of separating the club into a limited company in which sponsors can buy shares without breaching the only German rule that's as famous as their Autobahn speed limit, the 50+1 rule. Since its creation, the VfB AG brought in hundreds of millions of investments from many world-famous brands like Mercedes, Daimler, Jaco, Stuttgarter Hofbrau, Betway, the Fischer Group, Coca-Cola, Allianz, and more recently, as of June 2023, Porsche has taken over the right for the stadium name from Mercedes, and the club's deal with the prominent car manufacturer amounts to over 100 million euros of investments and covers several sponsorship packages aimed at youth development. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Not long after Ausgliederung, Stuttgart got relegated, but they had a clear vision and direction for the club. In April 2019, the club employed Sven Mislinant, yes, the guy that scammed Ajax, as the sporting director. In October, Thomas Hinzelsperger as the chairman and sporting CEO. And by December, it was time for the club's presidential election. The club elected Klaus Vogt as the club president, who then hired Pellegrino Materazzo as the head coach, who led the team's comeback to the Bundesliga in the 2019-20 season. The following season, 2020-21, Materazzo led the team to a strong 9th place finish in the Bundesliga. But it was clear that Stuttgart still has a long way to go. Materazzo's 3rd season at the club saw the club return to the relegation battle, only managing to secure their Bundesliga future in the final game of the season. The 2022-23 season was a disastrous start, which cost Materazzo his position at the club. He was followed by a temporary replacement, Michael Wimmer, and Bruno Labbadia, who failed to establish himself at the club. He only lasted 12 games as the Stuttgart head coach. At this point, Stuttgart were dead last in the Bundesliga, 5 points away from safety, with just 8 games remaining in the season. Sebastian Hoeneß, solving the puzzle. When Hoeneß arrived at Stuttgart, the club was involved in yet another battle for survival. Vogelmuth said Sebastian will surely find a way to pick up the pieces and assemble Stuttgart's football puzzle and avoid yet another relegation. Hoeneß brought with him an aggressive, high-pressing, attacking style of football. He made his presence known by getting a win in his first game in charge. Those 3 points against Bochum, the club that was occupying the last safe position in the league at the time, propelled the team 2 places from the bottom and right into the relegation playoff position. Hoeneß managed an incredible run, which brought the team only a point away from safety. Hoeneß and Stuttgart then prepared for a battle against the German powerhouse, HSV. Stuttgart managed to beat Hamburg and keep their Bundesliga dream alive. The start of dreams. The 2023-24 3rd place in the Bundesliga is their best start to the season in recent years. Stuttgart is a pleasure to watch. The names on the pitch haven't changed much, but their approach and hunger did. Hoeneß was able to light the fire in the likes of Serhou Guirassy, Chris Führich, Dennis Zundav, and basically the entire team. The first game of the season, they beat Bochum 5-0, but the very next game, they took a beating from RB Leipzig 5-1. Since then, Stuttgart went on a 6-game winning streak in which they beat teams by scoring 3 goals on average. Their incredible goal-scoring form can be attributed to Guirassy, who scored 13 goals in 7 games. He scored just 16 minutes into the match against Union Berlin, but got injured just 15 minutes later. He suffered a muscle injury that will keep him from playing for 3 weeks. The first game without him, Stuttgart lost 3-2 at home against Hoffenheim. And to add to the misery, Dennis Undav missed a penalty in the 31st minute. Guirassy will surely be missed. However, one man can't carry the team from the clutches of Bundesliga 2 to European football contenders. Stuttgart's team is full of strong individuals willing to do whatever it takes for Stuttgart to achieve victory. They faced Union Berlin again, this time in the DFB Pokal. Compared to the game with Guirassy, Stuttgart still managed to win 1-0. The Hoeneß 4-2-3-1. Under Hoeneß, Stuttgart line up in a 4-2-3-1 formation with Angelo Stiller and Atakan Karadžor acting as the 2 defensive midfielders, with Karadžor being the more defensive of the 2. This helped close the line between the midfield and centre-back pairing of Zagadou and Anton, with Roald being the 3rd option. In the wing-back positions, Stenzel was given more freedom in going forward, and he rewarded Hoeneß with 3 assists in the first 9 games. Hiroki Ito made the loss of Borna Sosa on the left wing-back position practically unnoticeable. Enzo Milot is thriving in the cam position, scoring 2 and assisting 1 in the first 8 games. On the left wing, Chris Führich is playing maybe the best football in his career. Last season, he scored 5 and assisted 2 in 35 games, while in the first 9 games of this season, he already scored 3 goals and assisted 5. Stuttgart's right winger, Silas, who scored 3 and assisted 1 in 9 games, is well known to the FIFA players because of his blistering pace. Little can be said about the pure brilliance of Guirassy that wasn't said already. After a start to the season he had, his value is now estimated at an enormous 60 million euros, making him a bargain considering his buyout clause sits at a measly 17.5 million. If or when Stuttgart lose him far below his value, it will be a sad day for Stuttgart fans. Danger of success. If VfB Stuttgart manage to maintain this form, there is a strong possibility their incredible team could get ripped apart by Europe's big teams like what happened to Lille after winning the Ligue 1 title. But Stuttgart is working hard at developing homegrown talent that will play for Stuttgart for more than just money. Seeing as Guirassy will most likely leave next summer for a measly 17.5 million, his current injury will be a good test for Stuttgart to see how they hold on without him. With Guirassy and Hiroki Ito already linked with moves away, do you think Stuttgart will be able to continue their great form? And if they do you think they will also lose their manager and other players?